I know that you are an expert in the entire chemical space.
How I entered into this sector and why I'm doing what I'm doing. I have been into chemicals for the last 10 years. Unfortunately, I was in a business where we were supplying around 300 plus chemicals for 50 plus industries in India. I never wanted to limit myself into the 9 to 5 corporate life.
One thing I want to ask you, because I'll come from a proper investor standpoint, okay?
Yeah.
Even for me, personally, chemical sector, समझ में नहीं आता है. Can't understand it at all. In India, chemical companies in the last 3 years are not doing great.
Yeah.
Whether it's your big guys or medium guys or small guys. Why is this happening? Hey guys, welcome to another episode with me, Shashank Udupa, and in today's episode, we have Mr. Ajay Joshi Chemicals. Yes, you might have heard this name on Twitter because he is one of the market experts when it comes to chemicals, and he has a lot of information on this. I personally had a lot of fun talking to him today in the podcast and offline as well. So in today, we're going to look at the entire value chain of the chemical industry. We're going to break it down. We're going to look at why chemical industries are not doing well in the last 1 year, and we're going to look at what is the next leg of success for the chemical industry. So stay tuned in today's podcast. Hello Ajay sir. First of all, thanks a lot for coming on the podcast because I've been following you on Twitter quite aggressively for a very long period of time. And I know that you are an expert in the entire chemical space, right? So first of all, thanks a lot for coming. And I also know you had a very hectic flight and you came here and you gave your time. So Ajay sir, first thing I want to ask from you, how did you get into chemicals and why?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I mean, always a pleasure to interact with interesting people, and I have also been following you for
thank you, sir.
personal finance related matters also. So yeah, flight and all that said and done. But yeah, how I entered into this sector and why I'm doing what I'm doing. See, I have been into chemicals for the last 10 years. I started off my career fresh out of college after MBA with a company called BASF.
Okay.
It's the largest chemical company in the world. It's a 150 plus year old company. So joining BASF was an institution for me that introduced me to the world of chemicals. That's when, I came to know that chemicals are not limited to only the chemical sector, but every aspect of our life. The medicines we take, the skincare we use, the clothes we wear. So everywhere you require chemicals. So that's when, I got to know a lot of value chains, lot of end industries. Unfortunately, I was in a business where we were supplying around 300 plus chemicals for 50 plus industries in India. So right from plastics to pharma to agro to flavor and fragrance, everywhere. So that gave me that exposure. So that's when I found this space interesting. But I never wanted to limit myself into the 9 to 5 corporate life. I had always wanted to start something of my own. And that's when, when COVID hit us, I moved back to my hometown in Uttarakhand. I took a sabbatical from the work life. I learned yoga. I also taught yoga that time. For 6 to 8 months, I became a yoga guru or yoga practitioner, you can say. And after that, I started doing the advisory work. Then I also worked with a startup. We were building a satellite chemical distribution company for the world, sourcing from Indian manufacturers. So there also I worked for around 2.5 years. I led their sales and started their business in 6-7 countries, including China, Turkey, and all that. And then I got back to my advisory because that's my strength. So like I always say, always double down what has worked for you. And that's when, right now, my company is Ajay Joshi Chemicals. We work with majorly all the chemicals manufacturers. We help them diversify. We help them with fresh capex. If they are struggling with where the next generation of growth in chemicals would come in, whether they are an established manufacturer or a new entrant into the chemical space. So we work with them. We also work as an advisor with a lot of financial institutions, right from the Singaporean fund GIC to Indian mutual funds to brokerage firms.
Wow.
We also provide advisory to them on the chemical sector and its subsectors.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my journey.
Superb, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. So one thing I want to ask you, because I'll come from a proper investor standpoint, okay? Even for me, personally, chemical sector, समझ में नहीं आता है. Can't understand it at all. It's as complicated as a pharma sector. So now, because you're an expert, if I had to break down this entire value chain, what are the different things that are there? Could you explain in simple terms?
Okay, so chemicals, in a layman, we need to understand the value chain.
Yeah.
We can draw a parallel with any other value chain also, like we make French fries. First, we need raw potato.
Correct.
Then we need to boil it. We get boiled potato. Then we can make either French fries, or we can make potato chips, or we make any sabji also. So chemicals are also like this. We start from the raw materials, which are petrochemicals. Petrochemicals. So let's say we have ethylene oxide that Reliance makes in India. That becomes essential building block for chemicals.
Okay.
And then from that we make bulk chemicals or commodity chemicals, which are voluminous chemicals, which are high demand, high volume chemicals, but low in price. So like our ethanolamines.
Okay.
Like our surfactants, which Galaxy Aarti makes.
Correct.
They need ethylene oxide as the essential raw material. Similarly, any company in India which are making amines, they need ethylene oxide as a raw material. So then we come to commodity chemicals. So these are commodity bulk chemicals.
Correct.
Similarly, we have phenol, we have acetone, we have methanol. These are all commodity or bulk chemicals. We have pyridine 98%, which Jubilant makes. So any chemical that is in the $1 to $2 or lesser price range and super high volume, that becomes our commodity chemicals. So commodity chemicals are broad spectrum in nature. Broad spectrum means they find application in multiple end industries.
Okay.
So from commodity chemicals, then we branch out to different segments. Some are specialties, some are semi-specialties, some are still commodities. So then from bulk chemicals, we get into chemicals which are a bit specialty. So let's say from ethylene oxide, we came to our ethanolamines. From ethanolamines, then companies like Balaji Amines or Alkyl Amine, they make certain specialty amines.
Okay.
Like morpholin, piperazine, all these derivatives. So they are a bit on the specialty side. Similarly, Jubilant Ingrevia, they have pyridine 98%, which is a commodity chemical. From that, they make specialty chemicals like cetyl pyridinium chloride, niacinamide, which is popular in skincare now.
Yes.
They make pyroxone olamine, which is the essential anti-dandruff agent in all the head and shoulder shampoos.
Wow.
It's a $50-$52 per kg product. So from commodity or bulk chemicals, we can make various value chains of either specialty chemicals or commodity chemicals or semi-specialty chemicals.
Okay.
So that's the broad value chain, right from petrochemical to bulk or commodity to specialties.
So specialties are high margin products.
It's the high margin and less voluminous product.
Less voluminous.
So in specialties, typically margins, global average contribution margins are around 40-45% plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's very interesting. And if you had to look at India, right, what are the big companies that are in different value chains? For example, we have agro, so I want to understand from your perspective, what are the different branches there?
Okay, so main branches in India, Indian chemical companies are traditionally life science heavy. Life science sector, it has two subsectors, agro and pharma.
Agro and pharma.
Agro and pharma. So traditionally, Indian chemical companies, they derive majority of their revenue from these segments only.
Okay.
Whether it's a UPL, UPL is agro heavy, PI is again agro heavy, Naveen is pharma heavy. So traditionally, all the large companies in India, they are deriving most of their revenue from the life science segment. But life science segment now, it is a bit saturated because it has too much competition, because so many companies are already doing. Plus, you cannot always depend on this one sector to derive your revenue.
Yeah.
So now we have Indian companies which are getting into new sectors like Deepak Nitrite. They are very big in phenol and acetone, but now they are getting forward integrated into something called polycarbonate, which is a net imported polymer which goes into our TV paneling, our mobile phones.
Electronic
So
devices.
it's a super commodity polymer, but no one is making it in India as of now.
Oh, okay.
And the demand is, I think, more than 1 lakh ton per annum.
But will this be like a high margin or a medium margin product?
For them, although it's a super commodity, it will be medium to high margin because no one is making it in India. So they will be playing in the import substitution playbook.
Okay, got it.
That's what will give them the edge.
Okay.
So that's another, angle to look into. Most of the times, specialty chemical companies are the one, they make higher margins, but not all the time. Sometimes even a commodity chemical player, they have certain specialty or they have little to no competition or they are paying in the import substitution playbook, they also make high margins. To give you example, Vishnu Chemicals.
Yes.
They are in the strontium, barium, chromium, metal derivatives. Because not many players are doing it globally as well as in India. They have the edge, they make very good margins.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I understood this point. Now, coming to one more question. As you mentioned that in India, chemical companies in the last 3 years are not doing great.
Yeah.
Whether it's your big guys or medium guys or small guys. Why is this happening? What is the problem that Indian chemical companies are facing in the last 3 years across the value chain?
I think one of the reasons is after COVID, hit us, everyone was thinking that China plus one is happening and now foreign customers in Europe and US would move to Indian suppliers. So a lot of these Indian chemical companies, they did heavy capex.
Yeah.
Some did capex in isopropyl alcohol, some did capex in surfactants, some did capex in different commodity chemicals. But once COVID got over, China bounced back.
Yeah.
It still is the global chemical factory of the world. So I think those assets are now underutilized and a lot of companies are struggling. So I think that approach somehow did not work for a lot of chemical companies in India. And another factor is that our product selection approach.
Okay.
Typically, particularly in agrochemicals, we don't innovate and we don't get into newer molecules. If one company is making chemical X, 3 other will enter into the same space. So that also creates lot of local competition for Indian companies. This happens a lot in agro.
Yeah.
So that is another big problem, that we don't diversify into newer chemicals, newer molecules. We repeat and invest into the same old chemicals only. Third reason is, of course, these global geopolitical factors. It's very tough to compete with China in a lot of commodity chemicals as well as in agrochemicals. They have capacities, that can fulfill the global demand in certain chemicals like PVC, in chemicals like acetone, products like acetic acid. Till 2030, they can cater to the world's demand.
Oh my God.
That much huge capacities they have. Similarly, in agro, in products like glyphosate, glufosinate, they made UPL bleed out, both in the local market as well as in the export market. Now, of course, UPL has done the anti-dumping duty thing, so they are able to sell at a respectable price in India. But because of China, because they have such large capacities, it's very tough to compete with them. And China's strength is that their value chain is not broken like India, which, leads us to the third factor, that our value chains are so broken in India.
What do you mean by this?
Broken value chain is that I'm not making the raw material, I'm not making the derivative of the raw material, but I'm making the third chemical. For that, I need to source raw material.
Which most of them source
from China. So now you are sourcing the raw material from China, and in the end product, you are competing with China.
Oh my God.
So it's like, you are not having your own potato, you are not boiling your own potato, but you are making French fries. But for that, you need to import the potato from China.
Got it.
But few companies, are exceptions, like Vishnu, which are diversified all across the value chain. Companies like Vinati, ATBS and IBB, everywhere they are backward integrated. So I think such companies are good because they are entering into the whole value chain. Their value chains are not broken and not dependent at the mercy of the Chinese.
Okay, now I have a question on the same line. So you're saying, okay, if a company starts going backward integration, as they call it, it is better from a value chain standpoint.
Yes.
Now, if I had to ask you from a scale perspective, because China is like this huge guy, right? If China is at 100, where would India be from a export of total chemical base versus China of a total chemical base?
See, right now
Bulk
we are very small. In bulk, China's share to global supply is around 15 to 20%. Our share is around 2.5%.
Will this rise? Is that going to be
It will rise, but somehow, Indian chemical manufacturers, they have not been able to leverage. Like, let me take you back to pre-COVID era. 2017, 2018, China had this anti-pollution control drive where they shut down a lot of chemical factories because they were migrating from coal to natural gas.
Okay.
Coal is their local raw material, abundantly available in China. Natural gas, they had to import. So their cost of production started increasing that time. But then also Indian manufacturers, they did not get into the products Chinese were making. So they could have, snatched away the market share from the Chinese. Then in the COVID time also, a lot of chemical companies did not invest into products which were needed for India.
Yeah.
That time also we had good opportunities. So I think somehow we have not been able to leverage these geopolitical incidents. So that has been one of the main reasons for us to struggle.
Is it like an R&D not doing enough?
Plus R&D also. We are not an R&D heavy country. For tech, like let's say anyone wants to get into today phenol, they have to license the technology.
Oh, okay.
Or another example is CPVC, chlorinated PVC. For chlorinated PVC also globally, you need to license the process either from Arkema or Nouryon. Okay. But now Reliance has developed it.
Okay.
So Reliance is getting into CPVC, which is their own technology. But they have been trying since 2000, early 2000. They failed a lot of times.
I heard they recently raised the rates also on
Yes,
these.
yes. So for a lot of these, even for commodity chemicals, we need the technology.
Yeah.
That's another problem. And India traditionally is not R&D heavy R&D heavy. But few, again, in this also few companies are exception. Companies in the CRDMO space like PI or Naveen, they have built their businesses around this whole R&D process optimization thing. But not many companies.
Okay, so I'll just summarize it very quickly.
Yeah.
So one is obviously China is like this big behemoth. They were dumping excess capacity into India.
Yes.
India finally got anti-dumping duty. But India's capacity is very small. Export chodo, India mein hi they're selling all of this. Now we understood the negative side of why they were so stagnant here. Now let's come to the other side. Okay. What are some good things that you're seeing right now, and where is the growth that you are seeing in the chemical companies today? Which pocket are you seeing the growth or future?
Okay. See, the good thing is that, companies which are making in India for India. Now the Indian government is so supportive that if I'm making any chemical that is, and my capacity is sufficient to cater to the domestic demand, I will get government support in terms of either anti-dumping duty or putting minimum import price on foreign suppliers.
Okay.
So that my price, my margin, they don't suffer.
Is safe.
So in this, companies which are in the amines space, amines, it's not just one amine, two amines. We have multiple amines. We have ethanol amines, ethylene amines, ethyl amines, specialty amines. So companies in this space, they are using this playbook. They are making amines in India for India. Just to give you the scale of amines, there's one popular amine, ethylene diamine, EDA, we popularly call it. It goes into making of this agrochemical called mancozeb, for which Indian companies like UPL, Indofil, Coromandel are the largest globally. These three companies on an annual basis buy 40 to 45 kilotons of this particular amine, right now all net imported.
Okay.
And globally only 3-4 suppliers are there. One is from Saudi, one is from Europe, one is from Asia.
And we're importing all of this as well.
Right now we are importing.
Okay. Anyone substituting this in India?
So now there are companies entering into this.
Interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
So companies like Alkyl, companies like Indoamine, they are entering into this.
So you're saying now the better playbook would be to do import substitution in India.
Insist, yes.
And come out with whatever we're importing so much, try to make, this is your R&D point.
See, that will make us immune to global geopolitical factors. The negative factors. Similarly, Vishnu, now they have been into organometallics.
Correct.
Now they are getting into strontium derivatives. They are also, annually we import 4 to 5 KT. So import substitution playbook. So this will work out well for companies. Like in the commodity space, Deepak Group, they are coming out with the polycarbonate thing like we discussed.
Yes.
Again, import substitution.
So all of it is to India's growth story.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, another interesting sector, that will do well because of India's growth story is something related to FMCG. Companies in the personal care chemicals space, companies in food and beverage chemicals space, because our consumption is increasing. Indians are spending more. We are eating out more. We are spending more money into skincare. Look at the skincare brands, food and beverage brands.
Yes.
So companies in this space also would do very well. Companies like Galaxy, Rosari, then companies in the food and beverage space that make additives like fine organics, they would do well.
And what about perfumes? Because this is a trend that perfumes and fragrances, we've been seeing a lot of action happening in this space, whether it's acquisition or tie-ups or something. Udhar kya ho raha hai?
See, flavor and fragrance is the broadest space. Now, flavor and fragrance are needed for personal care also, for food items also, even for chemicals to mask the bad smell of chemicals. So in that space, I'm seeing a lot of outsourcing happening to Indian companies. So in flavor and fragrance, traditionally, European companies are market leaders.
Okay.
There are 3 companies that account for 70 to 75% of global flavor and fragrance chemical demand. It's Firmenich, Givaudan, and IFF, International Flavor and Fragrances. So these 3 companies have increased their outsourcing to India because their European assets are now not cost competitive because the production cost there has gone up.
Okay.
Because of the Russia-Ukraine thing, the raw materials, plus the labor cost has increased. So they are not getting raw materials at a cheaper price there. So they are outsourcing it to a lot of Indian companies like Privi, like SH Khelkar. So I think that is again a good space to be.
It's a long term.
It's a long term, plus it's a sustainable game.
But why are they not going to China?
China does not play in these small chemicals. China plays big. They are like go big or go home. So for them,
they
it's
play
a
the
small
bulk
market.
commodity volume game.
Yes, they would rather get into something called acetic acid, or they would get into something called phenol or PVC rather than these.
So they are like
chemicals.
दुनिया को supply करना है एक company.
Yes, yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it. And what about research, because in pharma we're seeing this trend where a lot of them are outsourcing
Yeah.
the research to companies in Andhra or Chennai or whatever. What is something similar happening in chemical space?
Oh, yes. In agrochemical as well as in pharma, it is happening.
Okay.
It is happening. Like in pharma for biologicals, India is gaining popularity.
Wonderful.
So a lot of companies are entering, like PI is entering into this space. So biologicals, definitely a lot of things. And agro also now, traditionally we were making commodity generic agrochemicals.
Yeah.
So generic agrochemicals are which are off patented. So off patented, there is no IP. So then companies, global companies like BASF, FMC would outsource it to make it at a cheaper rate in India. But
Yeah.
now even the innovative molecules are getting outsourced to Indian companies.
Yeah.
So definitely R&D, a lot of companies are spending their cut.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So our edge is going to be niche R&D and
Yes.
chemicals plus
Yes.
for Indian demand.
Yes.
Because that's where China will not come.
Yes, plus a lot of job work opportunities from Europe.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Europe plus one, like, everyone talked about China plus one.
Yeah.
Let me put out this concept of Europe plus one. Because Europe, there's very tough to produce. If you see past 2.5 years, even the biggest players, they have shut down their capacities. BASF has shut down multiple product capacities because they have not been able to keep up with the cost. UBAC, the pigment manufacturer, the
Yeah.
largest, which got acquired by an Indian company called Sudarshan.
Wow.
They went bankrupt. So Europe, because the chemical producers are not able to keep up with the cost, it's not just raw material cost there, but it's also the regulations. They need to adhere to the carbon credit, the emission control program of the government. So it's very tough to produce in Europe. So that's why, this whole Europe plus one thing would also benefit Indian companies.
And do you see similar trend maybe happening in US companies also?
US, I think it all depends on one factor, the Trump factor.
Okay, but they're
So-
sustainable as of now?
Right now, I think the tariff situation, as per me, is temporary. I don't think it is going to last. I think after another 6 months, I think things would go back to normalcy.
Got it.
This is this is my hunch. So yeah.
Okay. Now, this is a very beautiful example of what you've given, because now I've understood, okay, the different types of value chain and what is going wrong and where the future growth is also coming in. Now, let's assume, ठीक है, अभी मेरे को, yeah, I understood this. Now, I want to create one investment framework. I
Okay.
want to find companies to invest.
Okay.
How do I start?
Okay. So so we'll go step by step.
Yeah.
The first step should be like company that has multiple sales outlets. By multiple sales outlets, I mean that that company does not depend on only one sector to derive its revenue.
Okay,
if
not
the-
only agro.
Yeah, like if there's a company which derives 60 to 70% of its revenue from agro, and suddenly, monsoon goes bad and there are no insects or pests, then that sector would not do well and this company would get screwed.
Fair enough.
So companies which have multiple sales outlets that sell their product, like Fine Organics, they sell their products to multiple end industries.
Okay.
So one is that factor. Second factor is value chain diversification. How diversified a company is across the value chain. So if a company is like Viniti Organics or Vishnu Chemicals, I think we should prefer them over companies which are not diversified across the value chain. Because then you would be at the mercy of your raw material suppliers.
Correct.
You would have no control on pricing as well as continuity of supply. Let's say tomorrow we have some issues with China and China restricts supplies of raw materials. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Finished. So value chain diversification should be another key aspect. Third is, of course, the management. Their vision and where they want to lead the company to. Have they fared well in their past announcements? I think that should be another angle.
Okay. And about bulk or specialty, should we focus on specialty now?
I think we should focus on the whole Make in India for India thing.
Make in India
Whether it is bulk or specialties.
Okay.
I think in both the segments, a company would flourish if they are using this playbook.
Got it.
Yeah.
And most of the examples you gave are all in the mid to small range, right?
Mid to small
Not
range.
large.
Because for large, the problem is that they already have domineering market share. It's like, you want to eat 2 bowls of ramen, you already have finished 1.5 bowls. So you are left with very little space.
To
So
play
for
in
them,
India.
the playground is now small to expand. But for small to mid-sized companies, they have the appetite to grow as well as there is enough market for them to grow.
Beautiful.
They are still at 10-20% market share in their products.
Beautiful.
Unlike the big companies which already account for 60-70% of market share.
Got it. And what are some red flags that I should see when I invest in a chemical company? Because I don't understand most of it. Like suddenly I get hit from somewhere and then they come to know कि chemical price गिर गया तो इसलिए गिर गया. So what are some 2-3 things I should be aware of as an investor if I've invested already in a chemical company?
So I use this thing called content and intent. So content part is, again, where the company is in the value chain, how susceptible they are to the raw material pricing, and intent part is how is the management.
Okay.
These are the two broad things that, the red flags point of view you need to see. If management is boasting a lot and announcing a lot of things, but execution is not there, then definitely it's a red flag.
Okay, so basically I need a good management that is focusing on backward integration.
Yes.
And their sales is not focused on one domain, but multi-domain kind of a thing.
Yeah.
This is like a good trifecta to be safe in the chemical
yeah,
space.
Yeah. For a layman.
For a
Otherwise, if you are deep into the sector, then of course you can study the products and all that.
Yeah. And if I want to like look at export data and all, because आजकल वो भी आ रहा है कि people post on Twitter, how do I find as a common man? Is there a place or do I have to pay a lot of money to get this?
I think export data earlier it used to be free till 2016-17, but now it is not publicly available. You need to buy it from certain companies that work with the customs department. But export data also, it does not give a really fair image, because even if you subscribe for the same company, you need to search from multiple names.
Okay, because
sometimes, let's say you want to search something about PI industries. One search, you need to do PI space industries. One search, you need to do just PI. One search, you need to do PI industries without space. So it does not give you actual representation because multiple people post different numbers. I think I would advise a normal person, a layman, to stay away from the export data and all these things and focus on, the management commentary or the annual report or quarterly report that comes out.
Okay.
I think you should focus rather there.
And do you think now chemical, because now it's been a contra pick, because the sector has been very muted for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you think a turnaround is coming around the horizon, maybe for the small and mid, as you said, instead of the large?
Yes, small and mid, next year, March, April onwards, I see very good times. A lot of small and mid companies are doing phenomenal job in expanding in the value chain, doing investments. But for the agrochemical sector, I see the sector to remain muted. Even for the next year. The first half went very well for agrochemicals.
Yeah.
We had very good local demand, monsoon came on time, but now a bit sluggishness is coming in the agro in terms of domestic demand as well as in export because of the tariffs. So I think this year till December will remain muted for the overall chemical sector.
Okay.
But next year would be very good for small to medium companies in personal care space, flavor and fragrance space.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And sir, if I want to learn, okay, because you've mentioned so many things, like for example, this Deepak Nitrites thing about making for electronics and all those, I would have never even imagined, honestly, right? And you obviously travel the world and you meet a lot of people and all.
Yeah.
If I want to learn all of this, because in chemical space, the information is very less.
Yeah.
Same with pharma, same with chemical.
Yeah.
IT space, 50,000 experts are there.
Yeah.
Kahan se seekhu? If I want to learn, where do I go?
I think for a neophyte to the chemicals space, one good place to be would be the research report published by these rating agencies. There also you can learn a lot about what the products are, what capacity company is doing. Otherwise, you always have me, Ajay Joshi Chemicals.
Yeah, on Twitter, right?
On Twitter, as well as you can subscribe to us on YouTube
Newsletter.
As well as on our newsletter.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And these credit rating, you said CRISIL, CARE,
CRISIL, CLEAR, as well as, there are multiple firms, MK is there, or HSBC is there, Jeffries is there. If you are finding these reports out in the public domain, read through it.
Okay.
They give you a very good view. And for the same company, do not read just one report. Read report from multiple angles. One rating agency could go negative on a company, another could go positive.
Yeah.
So you need all sort of views.
Yeah.
That gives you, fair picture. But yeah, this sector is a bit tough to understand. But so yeah.
Okay, last question to you. If you had two bullish takes on, let's say, chemical, I don't even want to name the company, but let's say two chemical things that these two chemicals will do really well in India in the next 3 years or 5 years, longer term horizon. Or let's say, as you had said, fragrance is more sustainable. I don't know. Two things that you are bullish on personally and you're seeing it as a very exciting space in the market today.
I think one is electronic chemicals.
Okay.
Now the ecosystem is finally developing. A lot of companies entered way earlier, but anyway, now the electronic chemical, whether it is semiconductor or battery chemical, the ecosystem, the customer base is developing. Investments are happening in the battery space, semiconductor space. So that is going to be a fun space and very high margin space because there again, Make in India, for India story would play out. You have local customers, you have local chemical suppliers. Second space would be the fluoro value chain.
Fluoro value chain.
Consolidated space, 2-3 players are there in India. Another player which were earlier into trading is now entering into the manufacturing space, Stallion Fluoro. I'm talking about. So I think fluoro space again would be exciting because it has multiple end applications, whether it is ref gas or fluoropolymers or fluorochemicals, fluoro intermediates, and all these companies are all across the value chain right from the beginning.
So it's a big market.
It's the value chain integration story, Make in India, for India story, as well as export edge story. and multiple end segments to sell your products to.
Yeah.
So these are the two spaces I would be bullish about.
And sorry, one more thing I wanted to touch upon in the same thing. A lot of people now are talking about, let's say, power, AI, data center, battery, as you said. And everyone is now trying to push themselves there, saying maybe data center में chemical बेचता हूँ या whatever. इसमें थोड़ा myth busting करो ना. Who's real? Which chemical really goes into these kind of sectors with AI and data center tomorrow and the future? Which chemical will actually do well and which chemicals are not?
See, I'll break it down very simply. Let me break down the battery chemical segment.
Yes.
Very simply. So battery chemicals, you have mostly three parts. Anode, cathode and electrolytes.
Yes.
To make, anode part, you need carbon black graphite. There we have local companies in India which supply specialty grade graphite. Himadri is there, then PCBL is there, and a lot of unlisted players are also there. So that is one part where Indian companies could play. To make the cathode part, we need precious metals. We need lithium, cobalt, and all that. There we do not have local mines. So there no company can play.
Very important.
So if any company claims that I'm going to be in the cathode chemicals, they are lying.
Wonderful.
Then electrolytes. Electrolytes is where Indian companies are active. Companies like Aether Industries, Amy Organics, Tattva Chintan, all these companies are in the electrolyte space because electrolytes are low volume, low to medium volume, as well as medium priced chemicals, semi specialty chemicals. So electrolytes, yes. So electrolytes is going to be the main space where we would see most Indian chemical companies. So there you can accept their claim because actually it's a viable thing to get into, but not in the cathode part.
Got it. And is this a very big growing sector in the future?
Definitely. Because we don't have battery manufacturing as of now, whether it is lithium ion or any other. So a lot of investments are happening. Government is pushing. This is a sector promoted by the government. They are inviting foreign companies. They are inviting Panasonic, LG to India to invest into facilities.
Wonderful.
So definitely a growing sector.
Superb. Yeah, I think Ajay sir, this was just mind blowing. I know. First thing I want to say is that even though it was such a complicated thing, you have broken it down very easy because now I've got an understanding of the entire space until I go back and start reading your newsletter and Twitter, right? But again, Ajay sir, thanks a lot. Again, I said, I know you took your extra time out to come here and, really appreciate it to be here.
Thank
and
you so
educate
much.
the audience.
Thank you
and
so
I hope
much.
you guys also got some information and understood to how to process this. But you made it in a very simple way. So I really
hope
want to
so
appreciate.
because
Because I didn't know only कि 2-3 साल से क्यों the chemical companies are not moving. And now you've explained अलग-अलग है इसमें, right? So that is something that I really enjoyed and loved. And I also want to say that as and when this evolves over time, I would like to do this again with you.
Definitely.
Because I know that it's so big, right? So
next time you would have to come to Uttarakhand to shoot.
I'll come. No problem. I will come there. Okay. Again, thank you, sir, a lot for coming on this podcast and really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome, guys. Thank you for watching this entire episode. And if you have stuck here till the end, then I request you to click on that subscribe button because if our channel grows, we can get some amazing podcast guests for you guys as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to see you guys soon. Take care. See you guys. Bye-bye.